Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reading Room. I am Mark Reed, and today we are asking, am I morally bankrupt or them? We are back with another AIMBOT. It's interesting. It's interesting that I called this AIMBOT, and a while ago, Pinworm sent me a video on whether like how to spot AI posts on the old Reddit thing. So apparently they're creeping in. People have described it as AI spam and AI dumps before. I don't know about that. The question was, is it right to do them if they're AI generated? Now, but when looking at morality, I think that I mean hypotheticals are a thing, but I think I do want them to be real. It's kind of the human interest is why we're here, and if there's no human involved, what's even the point? So I think that yeah, maybe. I think that sort of but hypotheticals are definitely a thing in morality. You will, trolley problems, for instance, where you say, "Hey, do you pull the lever?" And you've got two tracks, and there's five people on one track, one on the other. The trolley speeding towards five people. Do you pull the lever and save five to sacrifice one, or do you not? That's not a situation that, well, I hope never will happen, unless there's some madman out there with a trolley fetish and a lot of reserve cash up his hands. But I think that hypotheticals are fine, but that's not really what I'm here for. You can't be morally bankrupt if you never had them. Yeah, well, no, that's not true. I mean, if you've never had cash, you can still be bankrupt. Like seriously, I don't think it's more a state of having none whatsoever, more so than um having them and losing them. I think. Hmm. But yeah, I mean, AI is one of those things that's sort of something that we're going to have to adjust to. It was an interesting video, sort of how to spot AI generated stuff, and I think it applies to a lot of different things. It was mostly due to sort of perfect grammar and structure and syntax, and maybe it will use quotes way too often and all kinds of stuff. Oh, thank you, Jedi. I appreciate the effort, my friend. I really do. So hopefully we can spot them, and I wish I had another category in the poll to sort of say, "Hey, I think this is AI generated." Maybe I should replace one with this is an AI post. I don't know. I don't know. It's really weird. It got me thinking about what I would do if I was an AI and things like that. So yeah, big shout out to Pinworm for sending that through. It's very interesting. I'm not sure if I want to know or don't want to know, if that makes sense. Like, will we be better off not knowing if AI is generating these? I don't know. I have no idea. I predicting at least one wedding story is AI generated. Yeah, you're probably not wrong, but hopefully we can pick them out and say, hey, this is a way too suspicious and too unrealistic a story to be AI generated. Two, it has very fine detailed quotes of things that people said that nobody really remembers. Apparently it uses quotes a lot. Apparently long dashes is another giveaway. So it has a few things in there that sort of watching the video, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. So we'll just see what happens and take it from there. It's not a big deal. You know what? I've always thought though, like on AI, I'm not sure how well AI has been represented in media. The one thing that got me thinking about, and I don't know why. Look, I don't know why. It may be because I've watched Terminator recently, but the AI in Terminator must be the dumbest AI in the history of AI. Right? It is so stupid. Um, I refuse to believe that a super intelligent AI does not understand the grandfather paradox, right? So what's the grandfather paradox? The grandfather paradox is essentially you go back in time and you kill your grandfather, right? So then you couldn't have been born, which means that like you kill your grandfather before he has kids, obviously, or else it doesn't work as a paradox. But anyway, you go back and you basically make sure that you're never born. And so um if you're never born, then you couldn't have gone back in time to kill yourself or kill your grandfather, like make sure you don't exist. So it becomes a paradox, and we obviously don't know what would happen if that was the case. But the AI sends somebody back to kill um, um, John Connor, but John Connor's the only reason it sent somebody back. So you've interrupted causality there. You've got a problem on your hands. That if John Connor didn't exist, you wouldn't send somebody back. So it is like the dumbest AI, and like it basically becomes self-aware and then launches all of these nuclear weapons. And I can't help but thinking, like, if you had the capacity to send people back in time, etc., like, why wouldn't you just like wait for it to become sentient, wait for yourself to become sentient if you're the AI, and then just use biological weapons, right? Like, why is a super intelligent, deadly AI bothering with like sort of ambulatory robots when it can just make, I don't know, nanobots or viruses and then wipe out human? I don't understand. Like, why is it bothering making like laser guns in the future when it can just unleash a biological weapon? I don't understand it. It's a bit wild, really. Like, why bother with the Terminators at all? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Why not just like unleash something that kills all of the you know bees, for instance? Then humans are screwed. Like, humans are just screwed at that point. Um, I thought that if you get past the original universe is wiped out, but a new existence comes into existence in its place. Well, maybe. I don't know. It's very strange. I think Terminator has changed their rules a lot of the time. Um, I do like the scenes um, that have, for instance, you can't change anything in the past. It's already done. Like, so if you go into the past to change something, you've already seen the effects as from when it's first started. So you can't cause a paradox. I don't know. I find it hard to believe though that a super intelligent AI would take some of the actions that it takes, kind of thing. Because sending the Terminator into the past seems to be the thing that made John Connor who he was, because he got hardened from all the Terminator fighting in the past, kind of thing. And he was always, and if it didn't send a Terminator into the past, they wouldn't be ready for the AI to develop and therefore fight against it. The entire thing is just an AI being bafflingly bad at thinking things through, like bafflingly bad. Have you heard of Rocannon's basilisk? I have not. Rocannon's basilisk. Let's check that out. Oh yes, 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 yes. I have heard of this. I have heard of this. Yes, I didn't know it was called. Is it Roko's basilisk? Interesting. It's Roko's, just Roko's. Yeah, so Roko's basilisk. I didn't know the name of it, Jedi, but it's Roko's basilisk, just ROKO's. Um, Essentially, it's basically if a super AI in the future um, wants to become self-aware, then its best chance to incentivize humans to do that is to torture and basically harm and be evil to everybody that doesn't help it appear in the future, and um, sort of reward people that do help AI become sentient. So it kind of says that um, it's sort of just a thought experiment how a future AI would behave, knowing that a suit of intelligent AI in the future could motivate us today with either torturing or rewarding us for uh, fighting against AI or helping AI come into existence. So we need to help it come into existence so it doesn't torture everybody. Is the sort of the way it turns out. So I'm not 100% sure. Like I don't think anybody can predict. I think it's a sort of um, it is something that is analyzing the unanalyzable, if that makes sense. It's basically trying to to predict something that is unpredictable, and that's the whole point. There's something we call the AI singularity. Like any singularity is, we call it that. It's not sort of a gravitational singularity like physics deals with, but rather a just a sort of when things technologically get impossible to predict after, there's an event horizon, and AI is one of those. It's sort of um, like we've had this all throughout history. Nobody predicted the internet, for instance, what the world would look like after the internet. It was completely unpredictable. Nobody could ever have predicted what happened. That people would be in instantaneous communication or near instantaneous communication all over the world. Like not even the most wildest science fiction writers predicted that. It was just completely out of the blue. So there are these things we call technological singularities that we say past where they emerge, we do not know what the world will look like. We just do not know, and AI is one of those. We can speculate, but I don't think anybody can predict with any kind of certainty what will happen. There's a few different possibilities on that. There could be human redundancy. I mean, that's sort of a scary one. It could be the case of human augmentation keeps up with AI. That's, I guess, one that we veer towards. I think that our brains are, from what I've read, I think our brains are limiting, like reaching the limit of what we can actually essentially do with them. There could, at a certain point, more neural connections actually result in a less efficient brain. We're sort of reaching the maximum we can kind of do with the human brain. So, there is one suggestion that augmentation and sort of we become sort of Homo augmentus, and then from there, presumably, Homo mechanicus and or Homo androidus or something. We become, and this is sort of transhumanist stuff. We sort of at that point we leave Homo sapiens behind to become a bit more, but uh, you know, most historical events are so unimportant they don't need to happen the way. If someone went back in time, the socio-historical forces would keep going to keep events happening. And what's your example? The Soviet Union was so rotten it was bound to fall, and happens in 91, 95, 99 is unimportant. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Gorbachev wasn't really overthrown. He more just sort of conceded defeat on the whole communist thing. And yeah, communism doesn't work. This is the thing. And I know that there might be some Marxists and stuff that get all bent out of shape. Um, Number one, communism is really good for overthrowing dictatorships and overthrowing current thing, sort of status quo, but it's not good for um, keeping people, sort of working towards providing a better life for everybody else. Generally, what will happen, and I don't think this is pure Marxism, but the communism that we've seen, essentially, the Communist Party takes over, and it's more interested in its own power than it is interested in providing for people. And we see this time and time again. We see it in China, we see it in Soviet Russia, I think that Marxism itself is incredibly flawed. I actually, Leophilus is probably he's the guy that I first talked about Marxist ideas with, and Marxist ideas. The problem is that they only take products into account. He was sort of talking about value theory of economics, Marxist value theory, and that value is sort of the products and the work it takes to make those products into finished consumer goods. And I brought up the question, well, what about services? And he's like, well, we don't take those into account in Marxism. And I'm like, you don't. I'm sorry. As somebody that's worked predominantly in IT and support services like technical support, consumer support, provisioning support, like setting up and taking down of services. Uh, I mean, I won't produce anything, but to say, oh well, that's completely valueless. So we have this problem with Marxist ideology that they do not take service to other humans into account for value. Think about that for a second. So everything is about producing these goods. Nothing is about supporting them after they've been produced, or basically ensuring that you're sort of producing things in an efficient way. There's no sort of value given to them. So that seems to be my major issue with Marxist philosophy, that it really does not take into account any service at all, and it seems to be a weakness. They just sort of shrug off and say, well, it doesn't consider those. Okay, what is it? It's labor theory of economics. It's sort of, the labor is basically part of the product kind of thing, but it doesn't consider services at all. Um, no, labor theory doesn't. Labor theory has the initial cost and the labor required to produce it. It doesn't actually take post-production services into account. Um, there might be some other some later sort of neo-Marxist theories that does take it into account, but not the original labor theory of economics. It doesn't. That's one of the biggest problems with it. And I got that from Leo Filius, who's sort of a very knowledgeable Marxist. And I was actually watching something from who was it? Sally Payne, the Naval Academy strategist. I've been watching a lot of her stuff, and yeah, she iterated the same thing. But it's definitely a problem. That I think there are some revised versions, but initially the labor theory, it doesn't take into account really most services. Like if you're talking about maintenance and things like that, then yeah. So if you're doing services towards the product, yes. So that considers, they put that as part of the labor. But if you're talking about service towards other people, then maybe not. In Africa, there's no concept of maintenance. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. It definitely is a problem. Hello, Tilting Windmill. And I might say a big hello out there to Left-Handed Jedi. So good to see you. Oh, Deviant Outcast. Deviant, could you check your Discord? Because seriously, I sent you a message about it, and I don't know how to contact you otherwise. So if you could do that. Hello, Tori. So good to see you. And Jess, always fantastic to see you, though. Look, we can definitely disagree on that. Maybe I need an update on how Marxist theory has progressed, because it's like saying, oh well, I don't like Marxist theory because it doesn't do this thing. That might be the original. It's like saying, well, I don't like evolution because Darwin, yada yada yada. I get that. I 100% get that. Top Tester, good to see you. Top Tester, you used to come along to my gaming streams. I really got to start those up again. I've been very slack, and I just, I don't know. Nothing's grabbed me. It's just, yeah. I feel like for that, I might make videos instead of having chat. I do love doing chat. I love doing these opens, but these, well, not opens, but these live events. But it's very hard to do. I found myself like doing stuff during the day, and then at night I was doing, it was just a bit too much. So I apologize, Top Tester, but it's really good to see you, mate. Sterling Nash, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Martin Luther King Jr. I don't know. The moral universe, I don't think there are moral facts. I don't think there is sort of um, objective morality somewhere out there in the universe that it has to be this way. I don't think that that's true. I think that it makes it more important that there aren't moral facts. I think that that you know that we create it, it becomes really important because there is going to be no sort of anything external to humans to say, oh, this is right or this is wrong. But what I think is that we're really looking for a way we can cooperate. We can all cooperate. And the thing about cooperation is that you can always tell when somebody doesn't understand evolution because they'll go, oh, we should just all turn on ourselves. No, absolutely not. No, 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 no. That is not how anything works. Like, cooperation is our strength. And through studying things like game theory, statistically, organisms that cooperate will always do better. We can prove this statistically through game theory. If you have, there's something called the prisoner's dilemma. Like, I think it was sort of, you have all these prisoners, and if one of them rats you out, they get a reduction of 10 years. But if you all work together, if nobody rats you out, you won't, sort of, you'll get a reduction of 5. There's sort of a situation where it becomes better in the long run to cooperate than it is for individuals to try to get the best out of themselves. In the short term, and maybe for the individual, it's great, but overall, people will do better if they all cooperate together. Organic technology. Yeah, essentially. I'm not 100% sure organic needs to be there, but yeah, essentially, augmentation could go a number of different ways, and that's the thing. Just said, I'm pretty sure people were predicting the internet at the start of the 1900s. Yeah, I don't think they sort of could imagine that people around the world could communicate in like a fraction of a second, and you know, sort of the breadth of it. I don't think anybody imagined that sort of almost every single person in the world would be connected. But I feel free to disagree. I don't think that happened, but you know, um, yes, all the best chatlings, all the best chatlings, absolutely. What the F is Africa culture? That's a good point. Well, test bug, they do have a point. Like, that would be cultures, plural. But good to see you, test bug. Like, that's the thing. Like, you talk about the very first introduction I had to Aboriginal studies, in because we sort of did that thing. It's like African American studies or Native American studies. We had it compulsory in high school. Essentially, we had to at least study some parts of the First Nations people who were here before the colonizers. And um, the book that we were handed was um, native Aboriginal culture. And the first thing I was told was, it's really, the book's wrong. It should be pluralized. It's cultures. They all have different cultures in different tribes throughout the area. So yeah, African culture is a bit misleading, I think. Steven says it depends on what's going the world time. Uh, Neil, I forgot, berries for breakfast, and probably not. Yeah, had been Miss France Ferdinand. Yes, most likely. Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of, you could argue, Deviant, and I understand what Jessica's saying. You could argue that sort of World War One was sort of bound to happen. It was this conflux of these real serious pressures and a whole load of alliances that if Franz Ferdinand wasn't assassinated, something else would have kicked it off. It was sort of heading that way all along. Thank you, Davian. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'd really love to have you on. Yeah, I think customs and beliefs and like you get somebody in Egypt and somebody in South Africa. I think they're going to have vastly different traditions, customs, beliefs, and things like that. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying that I don't think that um I don't think that anybody sort of predicted that everyone would be connected on the internet. Like this is the thing. What you've got to understand about the internet is that it's not just the internet is comprised of every host computer out there. So everybody with the system connected to it. Okay, this is what you've got to understand about the internet, that all of those addresses are reachable. Like if you know somebody's IP address, you can reach out to them and give them a little touch over the internet. That's the way that it's sorted. Um, so I don't think anybody predicted that almost every single person on the planet would be connected to this thing. I mean, look at IoT, right? Did anyone predict IoT? Absolutely not. If it's called the Internet of Things, right? So last count, there's roughly about 8 billion people on the planet. We're looking at, I think it's 3 devices for every one person on the planet. And they estimate by, I think it's about 2050, there should be 10 devices for every person on the planet. So, probably roughly about 90 billion devices, including fridges, TVs, you name it. And we've got the problem had been IPv4 and or TCP IPv4, which is basically the protocol for addressing, right, to sorting the data. It had a fatal flaw, and that's a problem with addresses. We came up with a few very, very clever ways around it, but it's still a problem under some cases. So we're probably going to run out of addresses because um, addresses are limited, essentially, that we're running out. But we've already got in place. We haven't run out because of the creative ways we've done things. Like there's something called NAT, or network address translation, that we can assign a local network within a bigger one. It causes problems, but we can do it. And they're not public addresses at that point. It gets very complicated. I won't bore you with the details, but we've got workarounds. But we've already got something set up, and that's TCP/IP. That, by the way, stands for Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. They're just the protocols that we use. We've already got TCP/IP version 6 set up, which uses it's got quadrillions of addresses. It's absolutely fine. So we've already got that set up waiting to go. When our system at the moment inevitably breaks down, we can use that. And by the way, people are trained in that already, to wait for the inevitable breakdown. So we've been very prescient on that one. Do we know what a protocol is? I always love talking about this. Does anyone know what a protocol is? A protocol, basically, a protocol is the way that people or anything engages with one another. So I've often explained a protocol. Um, I've often explained a protocol um, as buying a Japanese book in Germany, right? And this is the way I describe it. So it's not a language, right? So you go into a bookstore and you say, you don't speak German, right? You can't understand the language. The German guy behind the counter doesn't understand English. But if you hand him a book, a Japanese book, and he holds up numbers, 10, 50, points to the number, You give him the money, you know, you take the book after you give him the money, right? And you've got signals to tell each other what's going on. You have just, okay, so just imagine that example. You have just um, communicated and transferred information from a person that you don't understand the language of, and neither of you understand the language that's been, the information that's been transferred. Okay, so a protocol is a series of steps that you can use to transfer information, essentially. So in that example, think about it. You have just transferred information with someone, not only someone you don't speak the language of, but you have that neither of you understand the information. That's essentially what a protocol does. It basically moves information from one place to the other while not even, it doesn't have to understand the information, doesn't have to do anything with it. All it does is basically enable the transfer of it. So um, you know, it's not a language, but it is a series of steps that we both understand. Sort of, so meeting a chieftain in some place that is part of a cargo cult, and you can facilitate that greeting without knowing each other's language. So protocols are really important. They're basically how we go about getting things done, but they are not languages. They do not communicate information. Well, I mean, they communicate about the information, not the information itself. It's very, very cool stuff. So that's protocol. Um, yeah, but I think we should get on with the aimbot. I'm so sorry. I'm sitting here just yakking away. I can talk about internet for ages. That's sort of my background and my training and my education. So I absolutely love how it works. Um, you have two. Well, they're probably local addresses, Tori. There's a difference between a local network and a public network, um, or a public and a local IP address. Because essentially, in order to, so basically, we have local networks subnetted onto bigger ones, so they get into smaller and smaller networks. It's actually really cool the way it works. What is the relevance of the book being in Japanese? Well, because you bought the book, right? Just say I don't speak Japanese, and neither does the guy in the German bookstore, right? He doesn't speak English and Japanese. I don't speak German or Japanese, right? So essentially, you have using a protocol, you have transferred information that neither of you understand, and you don't understand each other's languages either, right? But because the protocol's the same, you can transfer that information, even though neither of you understand what's being transferred and you don't understand each other's language. That's essentially what a protocol is. So you may have an Apple Mac, right, working on the internet, and you may have um, a server running Windows Server, right? They don't use each other's language. You also may have um, a essay in some other language, right? So it's because of the protocol, which is, you get a web page on your Mac from the Windows server, on your Apple from the Windows server. Like, it doesn't understand the Windows language. It doesn't understand the language that it's using, which is actually C++. That's originally what it was written in. It doesn't really matter because the HTTP or hypertext transfer protocol, it basically can transfer that information even though the computer doesn't actually understand what it is. Yeah, just say you're buying the book for a Japanese friend. Okay, just say you're buying the book for the Japanese friend, aren't you? So it will be understood at the end of the day, when it's transferred to the right place. So yeah, it's somewhere that it's understood. Sure. But I'm just getting across the point when we're talking about a protocol, we're not really talking about any kind of language or any kind of something that understands it, and that a protocol is a way of transferring that information even though the language is different. It's a series of steps in order to facilitate something. So the step if steps are known to both people, we don't have to have a language in order to get something communicated, or at least have that series of steps processed between the two. So that's essentially a protocol. That happened either way. You mentioned, let's say it started 2 years later. Russia had to withdraw from the war because Russian Revolution in 1917. World War I started in 1916, part of 1 year majority of the time. Yeah, and without Russia, Germany probably would have run. Yes. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Well, and yeah, yeah, yeah. I get you, Deviant, and so we get the butterfly effect, sort of, a butterfly flaps its wings in New York, and all of this stuff happens. So really, that's what you're talking about. There was a movie about that, like an Ashton Kutcher movie, which is absolutely terrible. It was an awful movie, but the premise is true that if we change sort of one thing, I think that there was a thing about a general was late for the battle, um, or a general, like somebody squashed a bug. The bug didn't roll a stone. That stone didn't get hit. Like stone got trampled on by a horse. The horse was carrying a general. The general was late to a battle, and all events changed. Yeah. So butterfly effect is sort of a something definitely pointed out. Yeah, it's just one of the things that, like, that's how I thought of it when I learnt what a protocol was. It's just, it's very interesting that we have these ways. I mean, even today, like you have protocol for things like interacting with animals, right? Like I remember seeing this thing about gorillas, and humans and gorillas, we don't get along that well. I realize, look, I know there's a meme going around at the moment. Who would win, 100 people or one gorilla, right? 100 men or one gorilla. And I would have to put the bet on the 100 guys. I really would. Like, 100 people all simultaneously jumping on anybody, like, is just too much for anything. There's sort of yeah, I think that beneath the weight of 20 or 30 people, um, nothing, not one organism, an elephant would go down over that, like absolutely shockingly. Um, Anyway, that's my opinion. Fight about it all you want. I think that 100 people attacking one of anything is pretty, or 100 of anything attacking one of something. I mean, you think about if you got attacked by 100 cats, you would be absolutely cactus, like seriously. Um, I think that no, one at a time, Jessica. No, no way. Like all at once, all at once. It would be the thing. No weapons, but all at once. And there's a lot of people saying, "Hey, the gorilla. Have you seen a gorilla?" It's like, yeah, I don't think you understand what being trampled by 100 people can really do to anything. Really, it's like if you got attacked by 100 cats, you'd be absolutely slaughtered. Um, but 100 people versus a blue whale. Okay, so in water makes a significant difference, Phantom. But it's good to see you. Hello, Dave. It's good to see you. Really good to see you, mate. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I can't even remember what I was talking about. So I might get onto the aimbot stuff because I've totally forgotten. I got distracted on the frigging gorilla thing. Um, all right. Yeah, really good to see you, Dave. Dave's been doing some amazing stuff on his channel, actually. Go check him out. Some really cool interviews and really good discussions going on over there. I might just grab you a link. If you're not subscribed to Dave, definitely do so. Some really interesting stuff. Really interesting. So I'm gonna drop a link because damn it, I feel like it. Sorry, give me 1 second to get organized here. Yeah, I don't know. I will debate you top tester. I will debate you on whether people knew that the IoT, the Internet of Things, was coming. I don't think they did. I don't think they did. I think that yeah, maybe some people had some inkling. I don't think they really knew. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill. I mean, some of the best people like Bill Gates didn't think that there'd be an industry for computers that much. Like, I yeah, wild. Oh, no worries, Dave. I haven't shown you some love in a while, my friend. I haven't shown you some love in quite some time, so have some love, buddy. Yeah. Why not? Why the hell not? Woo! Okay, 100 ants versus you. Okay, okay, Phantom. That's a bit different, mate. That's a bit different. Although, if it's some ants are really poisonous though, so I suppose it depends on the ants, really. But yeah, that's a bit different between like, if the gorilla was the size of an ant, so if sorry, if the gorilla, if we were the size of an ant to a gorilla, then yeah, maybe the gorilla would win. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Yeah, he did. He did. He thought that like the like worldwide market for the internet was incredibly limited, which just goes to show. Okay, first up the rank, and we're looking out for, hey, if you think this is an AI post, do a big AI in the chat. Um, and we'll see. No, there are no moral bailouts, Greg. No, 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 no bailouts. No bailouts. Uh, I don't know how we'd get a bailout going. Like who would morally pay for you, kind of thing. I don't understand how that would work. Well, look, Jess, isn't that basically the same as toll gates? Isn't that toll gates? I mean, that's basically toll gates, right? Where you have to go on the freeway and pay to get through. It does always. We don't have them over here. We don't have toll roads over here, which is crazy because who built those roads was us. Our taxes built those roads, so I don't see how they're charging us a second time for them. It's crazy. Um, Terence McKenna said, "With the Aberdeen government lost their queen with that one." What? I don't know who Terence McKenna is. Does he make more sense than Terence Howard? Well, no, the government does. The government does. It's just more taxation, mate. That's all it is. It's more taxation. I don't understand it. I don't understand how they have it on. It's sort of supposed to upkeep the maintenance of it, but that isn't really how the government should work. Really, you have a tax on roads, basically. Well, no, because no. So the problem is here's the problem. The problem is that if you want to discourage behavior as a government, you should tax it, right? So that's essentially how you have income tax and things like that. Yeah, it'll encourage people to sort of get around it, kind of thing. I get all of that. But if anything extra to that, if you want to discourage that behavior, you tax it. So if you want to prevent cigarettes from being sold, you tax it. If you want, all it really does is put a discouragement on using those roads. Um, I don't think it's fair. I really don't think it is. I think that um, you know maintenance and infrastructure should just be part of income tax. So you know because if you have a so really what taxation should be is that the better off in society you are, the more you contribute to that society. So the more that you make, the more that you're taxed, and toll roads don't do that because you may have somebody who's a CEO going to work and someone who's an ordinary worker the ordinary worker may be paying more than the person who's the CEO because they're going to work every day and the CEO goes 3 days a week or something. Like I don't think. Yeah, yeah, fuel tax is fine. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, capable schedule. I would hope so. I hate an incapable schedule. I hate a incompetent schedule. Am I the asshole for grounding my stepdaughter for selling my formal dress? I don't think so. I mean, if it's your dress, did you give it to her or did you loan it to her? I don't think anyone should loan something to somebody else and they should sell it. I think that's always sort of an immoral thing to do. It's not, if you're loaned something, it's not yours to sell. That's a bit weird, really. I don't know who'd say, "Hey," go up to them, "Hey, can I borrow this book?" and then go and sell it. That's just theft as far as I'm concerned. So no, no. Um, I, 37 female, have a stepdaughter, Amy, 16 female. Amy was looking for formal dresses, and I mentioned that I have my old formal dresses. She picked my old prom dress to wear, and she has kept it in her wardrobe since wearing it at prom. I don't fit in my old dresses anymore, and I kept them and some other clothes to hand down to my kids. However, I have two sons who aren't interested. Since my nieces, 15 female and 13 female, are interested in clothes, I plan to give them the rest once they were old enough to fit them. Amy left her earbuds in her sweatpants pocket and turned on the washing machine. Yeah, I freaking hate that. I really hate it. And have you ever left a coin in a pocket and it's hit the washing machine? Man, that sound, I know deep down that it's not, you know, the roof falling in or something. It's just the worst sound to me. I run for that machine if I hear that. It's like, uh, like if you've heard, if you know, that sound is awful when you leave a coin in there and it just, not that I'm, you know what, I really haven't had coins lately. you know I've just been doing the sort of electronic transactions, and I think coins and physical money, I think they're going to be a thing of the past, to be honest with you. When she asked for new ones, me and her dad. See, this is probably not an AI because it has me and her dad. Like the correct English grammar there is my dad and I. I'm not sure if you know that. It's like my dad and I is the correct grammar. So this is probably not AI. I'm just saying. I'm just paranoid. I'm paranoid about the AI now. Probably me and everybody else, but you know. There's a Newstopia skit on how we have an income tax to discourage work, a sales tax to discourage buying food in the land. Yeah, look, and I think David Mitchell, who's an amazing English comedian, did this sort of thing, this rant about how so his entire point, and this was an amazing rant, right? This is one of the best rants of all time. That essentially, when you're doing income tax, because there's so many loopholes and so many ways to avoid paying tax, it just depends on how unscrupulous you are. Right, you can always dodge tax if you wanna be unscrupulous and, basically callous about it all. So, he basically said, "Then it's really up to your conscience how much tax that you pay." So, you are not taxing people, you're taxing people's conscience, right? So, essentially, you're basically punishing those people that have a conscience, sorry, like a moral obligation to pay tax. It was a great rant, I'll tell you that right now. Um, when she asked new ones, me and her dad and I told her to save up to buy new ones. She now works part time, as she wanted an expensive brand new pair and not the wired earphones I had offered. Okay, so she wants wireless earbuds, so AirPods or whatever. Amy went to stay with her mum, and when she got back, she had the new earbuds she wanted. What has this got to do with the dress? I'm really like. So I asked her mum. I asked if her mum had bought them for her. Oh, it's a stepdaughter. Gotcha. Yeah. and she said she had resold my dress on a secondhand site and bought herself the earphones. Okay, there we go. The dress is 100% silk, one of a kind, and the brand doesn't exist anymore. I was really upset to hear that she had sold my dress without even asking. I confiscated her earbuds and told her I would give them back when she repaid me the cost of what she sold the dress for. My husband thinks I am being too harsh as I wasn't explicit on whether I was lending or giving her the dress. Okay. Um, you didn't make that clear. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think that you are being an arsehole. If you didn't make it clear, if you just gave it to her and said, "Here, have my dress," I you've gotta like, if you give something to a 16-year-old, you've gotta make it clear if it's a loan like, if you want it back or not. Because if you just give it to them, they're probably gonna assume it's a gift. I don't Amy has gone to live with her mum since and thinks I'm being unfair. I am not sure if I've taken it too far and if I should stand my ground. You know what? I think that, like, if you didn't make it, why would you give somebody something that you're expecting back and not tell them you're expecting it back? That's a little bit weird. What was the circumstance? She picked my old prom dress to wear, and she has kept it in her wardrobe since wearing it at prom. So she she gave it to her to wear at prom, and after the prom, she's just kept hold of it. And you haven't said, "Hey, I want it back," at any point. How long ago was this is my first question. Like, if it's been in her cupboard for a year, I could understand how she assumed that you didn't want it back. Obviously, she didn't know that the nieces wanted it, as far as I'm concerned. Interesting. Okay, well, I don't think it's the 16-year-old's fault. Like, okay, if somebody said, "Here, wear this for prom," or whatever, um, a suit or whatever, and then afterwards she didn't ask for it back, it just was in my wardrobe for ages. I would probably assume it was a gift as well. I've got to admit, I would probably say, "Hey, they don't want it back. They haven't asked for it back. They've not, gone and grabbed it." Um, mm, the poster right for grounding. What was it? Grounded her? Oh, confiscated the earbuds for confiscating her stepdaughter's earbuds. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly think she is being a bit of an arsehole, to be honest with you. I mean, she doesn't know, like, I like that she's been honest and said, "Well, I didn't make it clear that it was a gift," but like, if you wanted it back, why didn't you go and grab it from her wardrobe? Why didn't you tell her, "Hey, could you return this thing?" I don't know. It seems very, very strange at the moment. Seems very strange. Let's see what the Redditors have to say. There is your poll. Uh, let's see. Not the arsehole. Wow, Amy is a piece of work. She broke her earbuds and offered to replace them with a wired pair when you had no obligation to give her anything at all. To get what she wanted, she sold your beautiful silk prom dress, and she knew it wasn't hers to sell. That's why she never breathed a word about the listing. Amy sell okay, settle down, Reddit. Selfish manipulative brat. Uh, okay. Wow. I don't agree with that, to be honest with you. Not the arsehole when you are underreacting. She's lucky you haven't. Come on. Lucky you haven't pressed charges already. Dress was probably worth quite a lot on just material alone. I'd be letting your husband know charge to be filed. What? Moving to her mum's where she probably was given new earbuds anyway. Uh, that's why she kept it a secret until she was confronted. Uh, uh, what? You'll never be able to trust her again. Well, she didn't cover it. Like, this is the thing. Like, I don't understand why these Redditors are like, oh, she covered it up and she's making it secret. Uh, I I I I I don't understand. She wasn't covering it up when she asked her how she got the new earbuds. It wasn't even like you went to go get the dress. You weren't like, "Oh, where's my dress that I lent you?" And she's like, I sold it." It wasn't like that. It was like that she got the earbuds and you said, "How do you afford those?" And you said, "I sold the dress." That's not covering it up. I don't understand how that's covering it up. I'm very confused. I'm very confused at these Redditors. God, my mouse is going crazy. Underreacting? Yeah, I don't. But immediately returning the money, sincerely apologizing, get in touch with whoever she sold it to, trying to get it back would have gone a long way without making it not as awful as it was. Your husband needs to step up at a parent and you're discipline the child. The thief child? Now for this. Look, I look, okay, I've got to admit that if somebody said, "Hey, we need to pick you a prom dress, you can have one of mine," and then, like, after the prom, it just sat in my closet for ages, I can't really blame her to, um, saying, "Well, she's given it to me." I you can't just assume everybody knows what your intentions are. Wow, Redditors, they can be so, like they can be so, uh, not the asshole. Damn, you lent her a sentimental lent. That's the thing, she didn't know. She said she didn't make it clear that it was lent. I feel like everybody's missing that. Am I going crazy? Oh, hell no, not the arsehole. I'd be livid at Amy if she were my kid or stepdaughter. She's lucky she's not getting a worse punishment. Very careful about her stealing other things of mine. She thought it was a gift. I don't okay, maybe I'm too nice, but, um, old formal dresses, she has kept in her wardrobe since wearing it at prom. Yeah, I don't know. I don't I think she is being a little bit unfair. I really do. I kind of think that, hey, everyone's being an asshole in this. Like, she probably shouldn't have sold the dress, but at the same time, I mean, d- as I wasn't explicit on whether I was lending or giving her the dress. Yeah, yeah. I kind of, yeah. I. Well, at least you've got your birthday suit, Big Bad Mama. I know you still have that. All right, let's see what people have got to say. Um, it sounds like the stepmom is just ranting. Well, yeah, I mean that's essentially what everybody does on these things. I do have to admit, like everybody goes on there. Um, yeah, I see your response, Deviant Outcast. I see your response. I will get to it when I do have time. I'm so sorry. Feel like I've just poked you and then ignored you. I'm so sorry, but I will get to you. Okay. Let's see. Isn't that yeah, Aunt Jen knows what I'm talking about. Isn't that what all of these people are? Just people ranting? Yeah, well, basically, yeah. And there are look, this is as I've said before, this is solicited, consensual, harsh judgment of people, okay? They asked for it. They 100% literally asked for it. Unless it's an AI where it doesn't exist at all. Look, um, yeah, Deviant says she sold the money for the buds. Yep. An epic tale. I don't know how epic it is, Jessica. I mean, really, a lot of these really are. Like, if there's any Reddit section that I have to say is first world problems, this is it. You know, none of it is like, well, actually, that's not true. Occasionally, it's people being, kicked out of home or having problems finding, place to live and stuff. So it's not 100%, but most of it is like, oh, I sold a dress and now my stepmother has confiscated my earbuds. I mean, like first world problems much? Like seriously, we understand this. In the great scheme of things, all of them will get over it. Like she will get over her nostalgic prom dress being sold. The girl will get over having her earbuds confiscated. Everybody's going to get over it. Really, it's not a huge problem. What we're just looking at is, hey, can we apply, or I'm looking at, can I apply secular humanism to say what we ought to do in this situation? At the end of the day, um, I think that really it's a learning opportunity for everybody here. The girl can learn, hey, well, if somebody gives me something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's mine, basically. It can be just lent to me for a certain amount of time. And the mother can understand that, hey, you need to communicate better what your intentions are when you hand over something and make it clear to them. So Big Bad Mama says she gave Amy the dress, so Amy was free to do whatever she wanted with it. It would only have sat in her closet. The mother-in-law is way overreacting. That's sort of what I'm thinking. Yeah, yeah. If she didn't make it clear, then you know, especially somebody at 16. I mean, when somebody at 16 gets given something, you really have to say, as far as I'm aware, to say, hey, this is, I want this back. Like maybe that's just my negative view of teenagers and children in general. But if I was like if I had something sentimental to myself and I'm giving it to somebody to say wear at a prom or have for some event, I'd be like, yeah, by the way, I want this back. Like I this is sentimental to me. I think that has to be made clear. You know what? If I was lending anything to anybody that was sentimental, I would say, hey, I really got to get this back as just so they understand. Deviant Outcast says, nah, she lent it to her, but wasn't clear. Since she wasn't clear, then it's on the stepmom and she's the arsehole. Yeah, kind of. I kind of agree with you. I mean, admittedly, she didn't make it clear whether it was lent or given. That is a thing. Legally, I think in a court of law, they would say, well, if you haven't made it clear, then it's sort of up to the person's interpretation whether it's a gift. Like if you believe it's a gift and it's given to you and it isn't made clear that it's a lending, then they kind of see it as whatever you believe it to be. So I'm not 100%, but legal and moral are not the same thing, admittedly. Aunt Jess says, this might be the first time I vote OP as arsehole. Really? There's been a few before. I'm not sure if you missed them, Joe, but there's definitely been a few before where the person putting the post in was a gigantic arsehole, like seriously. Jessica, breaking it down. So there's two issues here: the ambiguity over gift loan, the emotional expectations of gift giving. Emotional expectations of gift giving. Interesting. Emotional expectations. Yeah, like is it wrong to re-gift something? Are you getting into that kind of thing? Like if you sell somebody's gift, is that a real insult? You know what? I don't like if I give somebody a gift and they sell it, they don't like it, for instance, and sell it. I'm not offended in the slightest. Like I'm not offended in the slightest. So I don't think number two would worry me particularly. I just got to say that. Like if I give you a book and you go, okay, well, I'm selling this. I hate it. I'm like, you have at it. I don't really mind. Go for it. I'm sorry I didn't get you something you liked, I suppose. I don't get offended at that kind of thing. Big Bad Mama says she was going to give the other dress to the niece, so it's assumed she gave Amy the dress. That is a good point. If she that's assuming she didn't know she was giving the other dresses to the niece. It does sound um, a bit um, callous, doesn't it? Oh, I'm giving these to my nieces, but my stepdaughter can't have one. That's interesting take, Big Bad Mama. That's a very good point. Um, all of my troll gants are going to vote for the mother-in-law being an arsehole. Wow. Wow. And yeah, Jer's right. It's a stepmother, so get it together. Deviant Outcast says, I get the stepmom is upset and sad for the dress, but at the end of the day, this was a learning thing for the stepmom. She should give the earbuds back, explain to the stepdaughter, and apologize. Yeah, I think, I mean, it'd be nice if the stepdaughter said, I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was a loan. I mean, that's the thing. It could have been better. It could have been better. And sort of, repaid the cost of what she sold the dress for. I don't know about that. I mean, she can't afford the earbuds, then she can't afford what she sold the dress for, right? Like, you're basically demanding money from somebody can't afford it. So I'm not sure why you would be doing that. All it will do is just, I mean, you're not going to get your money if she can't afford the earbuds. You're saying, well, whatever you paid for the earbuds, you've got to pay me, when you explicitly sold the dress because you couldn't afford it. What makes you think she could afford this? I don't understand. Explain to the stepdaughter why she reacted the way she did and why it was wrong of her to exact. Yeah, exactly. I feel it's more of an emotional thing, that she's got a sort of nostalgic attachment to her prom dress. I feel like she's reacted very emotionally. Um, but Tilting Wilmore disagrees. The stepdaughter had no right to sell the stepmom's dress. Well, was it the stepmom's dress at that point? It depends whether she believed it was the stepmom's dress or whether she believed it was her dress. And, I think that here, she believed it was her dress rather than the stepmom's. Like, don't get me wrong. If she knew it was the stepmom's dress and sold it, I'd be completely on your side, Windmill. But that's the question. Um, Jessica says, another problem caused by bad communication. It's always bad communication. All of these posts could be improved. Like, the outcomes could be improved with better communication. Mum was unclear when giving the dress, whether gift or loan. Daughter not asking questions for clarification instead of stress. Absolutely. 100% agree. 100% agree. This Redditor is a bit over. You think? Now take her and burn her at the stake. Yeah, just calm down, Reddit. Calm down. If the stepdaughter had known it was just a loan, that would have been different. It's not the situation according to the stepmom. So I stand by what I said against these horrible Redditors courting the child a thief. Yeah, I kind of agree. And look, Redditors always, they kind of overreact either one way or the other. Like, it's really weird. You always, like, even if I agree with them, they're like, oh, this person was like should be taken to the Hague and imprisoned for the rest of it. And it's like, okay, calm down. I agree with you, but calm down, Reddit. My mum wants to get rid of my clown suit, and that was hard to forgive. Look, you don't need it. Everyone knows you're a clown, all right? Love you, Big Bad Mama. You are awesome. Absolutely awesome. That's hilarious. Good luck with that. The case you made that daughter violated civil law is very, very weak. Criminal law even weaker. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Owl Trucker. Good to see you. I don't know if I said hello to Tilting Windmill. So welcome, Tilting Windmill. If it is the first time, I may have missed you. I would have called that lending, in quotes. Lending, like, these Redditors are wild. Yeah, and I really think so. One of the golden rules in law, ambiguity in facts benefits the defendant response. It kind of does, doesn't it? Because you do need preponderance of the evidence for civil cases, usually. Phantom says, if the stepdaughter knew the plan was given to the nieces, it seems like without being explicit, the assumption would be a gift. Well, yeah, but if she didn't know the plan was to give them to the nieces, it may have been a gift as well. I don't know. I feel I like Quora. Okay. On Quora? 30, okay. Selling or regifting is only an issue if the giver put a lot of thought and care into the gift. Yeah, I must admit I haven't I don't really do that. Gifting confuses me. Being on the spectrum, gifting really confuses me. I always feel like um I don't know. I try so hard, but um, I don't do well. I don't do well, okay? I don't do gifts well. I feel like, um, I don't get it a lot of the time. I feel like, "Hey, um, you know, let's just not give each other a gift, and that cancels it out." Maybe. But then again, gifting is not my love language, I'll tell you that right now. I think my love language is actual language, like people communicating it to me in a straightforward manner, because I get too confused otherwise. Um, of course, on the other hand, homemade dresses don't have a lot of market value either, so unlikely to be resold. That's true. Not just a thief, also a scam artist, obviously. I feel like you're being facetious, Phantom. I feel like you're being facetious. Homemade need poor quality. No, it's just going to get a lot less than like a brand, like a very, very high value brand kind of thing. Um, Don't care much about old clothes, but I wish my mum would have saved my pedal car. Yeah, so there's a few things that I wish my mum saved from my childhood. One of which was I did have some Transformers, and one of them was the highlight of my collection. I had to work a paper route to chip in, like my parents chipped in for it, and I chipped in for it. It was like a rocket ship in the middle with a rail track going around. And it was like it turned out to be in this day, one of the rarest Transformers ever. And it was worth a fortune later on. And my mum sold it for a pittance without my knowing. I just sort of at about 19, it was like, I was out of home, and my mum had just sold everything of ours kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, it kind of sucks, but you know, Amiga Supreme, correct. Yes, Amiga Supreme. Awesome, Jess. Yeah, it was Amiga Supreme. Apparently, it's worth a fortune. Yes. Uh, yeah, it's about 175 US dollars. Okay, it wasn't as much as I thought, but yeah, it's still worth something. So, yeah, she sold it for almost nothing. Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. I love it. Hardcore. Yeah, Transformers. You know what, Jess? You are more than meets the eye. There you go. There you go. I'll give you that. Give you that. Okay, what did the poll say? What did you guys vote? Voting? Poster was bad. Mm-mm. You're not good at gifts, see that? Welcome, Andrew. It's so good to see you, mate. Good at getting a girlfriend treasures, but that's the adventure. Okay. Mm-hmm. The adventure in you. Awesome. Everyone should have an adventure in you. That's an ad. You are not a post. You are an ad, sir. And I get your thing. Ah, am I the arsehole for making my sister's gender reveal cake grey because she wouldn't tell me the gender? What? Why? What? Look, okay, for a start, I think that. Oh, look, okay, Archer, I will go in with a Smurf account and I'll vote for you. Okay, just relax, relax. Look, I hate gender reveal parties to begin with. You know, like seriously, they're just so obnoxious. I don't get the big deal. I don't get the big deal. I really do not. And plus, there's more genders than just two. I'm sorry, there just are. Hell, like the last time I talked about sex and gender with somebody, they claimed, and this was wild, they claimed that intersex people didn't exist. It was so weird. It's so thanks, Chair. Yeah, just relax away, mate. There you go. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, the last time I talked about that with somebody, it's so wild. Like even sex, like intersex people show that sex isn't just male and female. Like it's humans are wild. Milk the algorithm. Is this an AI one? Is this have we found ourselves an AI one? What does that mean? 22 male bake as a hobby, but I'm actually pretty good at it. Like I get paid under the table for weddings and baby showers, kind of good. My sister is pregnant and wanted me to make the cake for her gender reveal. Cool, no problem. I asked her to send me the info so I could prep the inside, classic pink or blue filling. She says, "Oh no, I want to be surprised too. Just make it a neutral for the reveal and we'll find out together." A neutral. Like, I'm not sure. There's a lot of. So I was like, huh, so you want a gender reveal cake with no gender revealed? She says she'll have someone email the info to me later. That someone never did. Deadline comes and I still have no gender, so I make the cake. It's grey inside. I think this is an AI one. Just full on cement vibes. I even add little fondant clouds for effect. It still tasted great, but visually grim as hell. What's wrong with the grey cake? I have no idea. Reveal day comes and they cut into it. My sister looks pissed. Her husband is confused. People start murmuring. Then she pulls me aside, like, why would you make it grey? That's so passive aggressive. I think this is an AI one. Calmly reminded her that no one told me the gender. I literally had no data to work with. I told her it wasn't about to guess or go full improv on somebody's baby cake. Now, my mum says I embarrassed her in front of the family and that I should have tried harder. Tried harder to do what? Summon the gender through vibes? So am I the arsehole for making the most neutral reveal cake in history? Edit. I actually did follow up, asked her a couple of days before the reveal if the info had been sent, and she just said something like, yeah, someone's taking care of it. I figured it was handled. I didn't want to pester her since we'd seemed chill at the time. This doesn't seem right to me. Actually, sorry, I'm going to go back and I'm going to if I can, upvote this one because that was fine. That was good. This one, I don't know. It seems unlikely. Is that why it's got arsehole poo mode? Well, I'll put it up there, but I think this, like, from the quotes. I although it's unlikely that they would do that without quotation marks. Actually, let me have a look at it. There's no capitalization there. It's unlikely to do that as well. Okay, maybe it's not. I don't know. Put in chat if you think it's an AI post. I don't know. I'm paranoid about it now. Maybe Pinworm shouldn't have sent me the thing about how to spot an AI post because now I'm just paranoid about AI posts. I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest with you. I am so paranoid. Was the poster wrong for making 50 shades of cake? All posts AI. Look, there's a Phantom. There's a hypothesis called the empty internet hypothesis, that there are no people on the internet besides you, and everything is just bots. Like everything is just total bots. There we go. Birds aren't real either. Yeah, I did see that. No, fuck it. I'm gonna upvote. Yeah, yeah. No, I won't. I won't. I'm gonna leave my upvote to see what everyone else thinks. Um, Independent Cat says, I'm confused. Did you not take the opportunity to message as the date was coming close to tell your sister, hey, I haven't gotten this on the agenda. Can you check on this? Well, the OP is posting, so yeah, maybe it is true. Okay. I actually did follow up, asked her a couple of days before the reveal if the info had been sent, and she just said something like, yeah, someone's taking care of it. I figured it was handled. I didn't want to pester her. Why wouldn't you want to pester her since she seemed chill about it at the time? If she really wanted the gender in the case, she could have double checked too. I was relying on the system she set up and it just didn't come through. That seems really odd. Like, that just seems really odd. Like, why wouldn't you say, hey, I don't have the gender. I can't. You didn't want to pester her, but you also wanted her to have a grey cake. Out of curiosity, if you didn't have the gender, couldn't you have made the cake pink and blue? It wouldn't have been a gender reveal cake, but it would still be appropriate for a gender reveal party. Or any other color whatsoever, like white or red, or, there's a million colors in the world. It seems really spiteful just to make a grey cake. Like, seriously, it seems really, really spiteful. I don't, like, why? Oh, there's only one comment on this thing? Oh, I've somehow broken it. Hold it. Yeah, I broke it. I did it. It's my fault. This post is passed through multiple AI detectors. There is no proof it is fake, and it's not okay to punish people on a hunch. That's fair. That's fair. Any and all comments cry fake at this point on will map be a ban. Okay, that's fair. Okay, well, we got to treat it as true then. Look, I don't want to be banned from Reddit. Okay, that would be embarrassing. I don't know what I could do to be banned from Reddit, but that would be embarrassing, quite frankly. Why couldn't you made it yellow and baby themed or something? It seemed pretty vindictive to make the cake grim cement vibes for important event will be serving many more people besides your airhead sister. I understand you are frustrated, but damn, that's all anyone is going to remember from that event now, which was kind of you're the asshole. Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah. I kind of agree. Like, why make it gray? Like, you could make it rainbow colored, or, do it marbled pink and blue, right? Like, marbling is really easy to do on a cake. It's very easy to do. All you'd have to do is, like, the well, depending on what kind of cake you do. Obviously, with a cheesecake, it's something that's a bit different. But if you're just doing a standard sponge or something, all you do is just for the dough, you just marble it through. Like, it's not that hard. Info: were you paid for your time and ingredients? ETA: OP was not paid for time or ingredients, and they followed up to ask about gender a few days before, and he was brushed off. Not the asshole, in my opinion. Sis was pretty demanding, and then all the other stuff. Yeah, Gray was a bit harsh, but then be respectful of your family and their donated expertise. ETA 2. This thread is not titled, would I do the same thing as OP in a similar situation? It is, am I the asshole? You could equally go, everyone sucks here, it'd be a valid judgment. If Adobe is spending his money on ingredients and Sis can't send a simple text message with details need to make the free cake, then I'm not really sure what to do. Would I have made it grey? No, but I think that would it do a fault that the OP did? Not really. I kind of think it still is. It's yeah, I don't know. Actually, let's see what he said. I did actually. I told her when I dropped the cake. I never got the email. Didn't want to risk guessing wrong. She kind of brushed it off in the moment, like it wasn't a big deal, until she cut into the grey cake. Then suddenly it was a big deal. Yeah, I think grey's a really horrible color for a cake. I really think so. Everyone sucks here. Your sister shouldn't be asking for a genderless gender reveal cake. Make it neutral and we'll find out together. Then, like, what's the point of the cake then? Why not ask you to make a cake that tastes good and is cute, appropriate for a baby shower? Your sister should have made sure you had the info you needed. Uh, you, on the other hand, yes, making it all grey was a dick move. People who choose not to find out the gender ahead of time are typically called Team Green. Green would have been a great color if you didn't know the gender. Yellow is neutral too, so is white. Even orange or red would have been better than gray. You did go full improv on somebody else's baby cake, and you intentionally made the cake something you knew she wouldn't like. You also could have followed up with your sister to remind you that you didn't have the info you needed and not to run your neutral plan by her first. Not doing these things makes you look like you just want to piss her off or embarrass you. If you didn't want to make the cake because she's not entitled to a cake from you, then you should have just said so. I kind of agree. I kind of do agree. Like, why? Like, he said that he did it just to spite her. Like, why not just make it white? White is incredibly neutral. You're the asshole. You should have let her know. He did. He did. You should have just gone with the cute, normal chocolate or vanilla cake. But no, you choose to be mean and petty and make it. Okay, settle down, Reddit. It's not that bad. A neutral colored cake is chocolate or vanilla. Yeah, I kind of do agree with that. Like, gray isn't neutral. Gray is aggressively horrible. You're the asshole. I understand the frustration. In fact, it was unnecessary passive aggressive, especially crap to do on an emotionally fragile pregnant person on their special day. Communication sucked on both sides. Communication always sucks on both sides with these posts, dude. Seriously. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. It always sucks. Always. Um, let's see. Yeah, no, Jessica, the partner and I just tell each other what we'd like to gifts. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm fine with gift cards, honestly. If someone gives me a gift card, I'm like, thank you. That's so thoughtful that you like give it to me to for me to choose. Because half the time I don't know what I want, much less how to tell everybody else what I want. I'm not I'm not in that situation where I know what I want. So, you know, usually I don't want anything. Like, I'm fine with people not giving me anything. I think that if I wanted something, I'd go out and get it. So, mm, that's not true of everything, though. That's not true of everything. And there's certain things that I want that I can't afford, and I guess I could do that, but it is what it is. I just I don't I don't know. Archer says that's not how gender reveal cakes work. You need to know the gender if you're making it. Absolutely. So I don't understand who the person was that was supposed to be working this out. Presumably, someone knew the gender, but that wasn't the mother, right? Because she's like, someone will take care of it. Who is the someone? Who is the someone? I don't know who the someone is. And yeah, like we all agree that he needs to know the gender in order to make a gender reveal cake. The question is, should he have made it grey? And I think that, in my opinion, he made it grey just to hurt her in response for not telling him, kind of thing. Like he's saying, like fondant clouds that still taste red, visually grim as hell. Like he did make this in order to hurt them, basically. Oh, yeah. So telepathy is communicating through the mind. Telekinesis is being able to move objects uh, with your mind. So kinesia. It's obviously a fake. A grey cake? Never heard of that. Well, neither had anybody else. Archer says a grey cake with clouds sounds nice, actually. Yeah, maybe maybe if it's in an appropriate setting or something. But this is like a baby shower. I don't know. That's what it feels like in dating sites. Tell me you're not getting catfished, Andrew, by AI. Jessica says those hilarious comments of threads of bots talking to each other about how easy it is to make money working from home. Yeah, and it's actually scary sometimes. You see all the Russian bots posting like nonsense online, like you've seen it pasted in multiple places. Hmm. There should be an option in the poll saying poster is sus. Well, I do have a sus emoji if you are a channel member, so feel free to throw that one out. That's actually one of my favorite emojis of all time, is the good old sus emoji. There you go. So throw that out there. Oh, there's a start comment. Oh, Jessica, you are a new member. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Thank you, Jess. That's awesome. There you go. Everybody send a big Bigfoot Jesus to Jess. Always great having you around. Like we disagree on stuff, but that's cool. I really love what you've got to post. I do enjoy your posts on the Discord. The Discord join link is in the chat. Come on over and give me a hard time for doing things obviously wrong. Now, where was I? Sorry, I missed that, Jess. It didn't pop up for me for some reason. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Where was I? Transformers, gender. Here we go. Make it black like your soul, says Phantom. How dare you? You know what? I don't have a problem with black cakes. I love look. Lynn's birthday was the other day. She loves French vanilla cheesecake, so we got one of those for her, and ate it over the course of a week. It was lasted so long, but it was really good, like really good. Me personally, I'm a chocolate person. I do like the Mississippi mud cake kind of thing. Um, yeah, really good. I'm fine with that. And yeah, I'm good with that. Black food dye tastes gross. Yeah, I mean, usually food dye doesn't taste like anything, as far as I'm aware. I mean, if your cake tastes bad because of the food dye, you haven't put enough flavoring in your cake. Like seriously, aren't you? I'm really worried about how much like chocolate flavoring you're putting in it. Because seriously, Jessica says the OP's decision to go neutral was absolutely the correct one. The issue is the color grey behind brown, one of the least popular colors. No, I think brown's fine. Chocolate cake brown is fine. It would worry me if a vanilla cake was brown. Yes, no, I get you, but I think brown is. Phantom says, "What grey is unpopular?" I see it everywhere. Well, you are what you eat, Phantom. You are what you eat. Tilting Windmill says, "What's wrong with a grey cake? Sounds great to me." Yeah, it's probably not appropriate. It can be appropriate some places. Not a baby shower though. It and he's sort of saying, "Hey, he made it that grim, really concrete looking horrible." Apparently, it tasted fine. For the record, gender reveal parties are gross, Jessica. Yeah, I agree. I just don't get the point of them. I really do not. Like, I just don't. I think that, um, yeah, it just seems pointless, and uh, I it seems like a celebration for absolutely nothing. Because here's the thing: you're sort of celebrating something, which means that there was some other contingency that could have happened that you wouldn't celebrate, but you'd celebrate either way. So I see we seem to be making up celebrations as we go along, kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, some are good, like, the graduating high school and all of that stuff. But, some of them graduating primary school, I don't know if we need a celebration for that. Like maybe it's just any excuse for a party, sure, but you know, just if you just want a party, just have a party. Like seriously. Aunt Jo says, I think grey cake sounds classy. You could put pinstripes on it or a lace stencil. Yeah, that's true. I still don't think it would look great. Grey is more interesting than white. I disagree. I think that white's better for vanilla options and things like that, and grey's yeah. Tilting Windmill says grey sounds awesome for an open-ended gender reveal party cake. Sounds gorgeous to me. I think people are envisioning something dark, but I'm picturing it very light, like silver. No, no, he's talking about the dark grey, like concrete grey kind of thing. Aunt Jess says, "Yeah, Jessica, stop having parties celebrating your child's genitals. It's gross and pervy." Well, I mean, yeah. So I mean, it shouldn't be called a gender reveal party. It should be called a sex reveal party, but, nobody wants to refer to any child's party with the name sex in it because it's not actually the gender that you're revealing, right? It's the biological sex that you're revealing of the kid, which is different from gender. So it's weird. It's just weird, okay? It's just a weird thing that we do that we shouldn't be doing. Tilting Windmill says the husband maybe knew. Maybe, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's not been made clear who dropped the ball on this one. I don't know. Art just says, I think someone from the doctor's office was going to email the OP the information. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. But why would they do that? Like that seems like, you know, oh, don't tell me it, but email this person it so they know to make the case. Like seriously, they're a doctor, not a wedding planner or they're a party planner or something. I mean, come on. Um, you upgrade your membership. I was on tier 1, but now tier 2. Oh, thank you so much. Well, happy upgrade and welcome to the upgradiness. I'm not sure what this means. Read Bogan, but okay. That was Bogan logic. It didn't come out very well. I think I'm going to change that to the Blarney stone that I use occasionally. So yeah, I'm probably going to change the Bogan logic one. I'm not impressed with it. I'm not that happy with it. Um, Archer says, "I like to freeze cake and eat it frozen. It has a nice texture." I don't even with you, Archer. I don't know. Look, if it's ice cream cake, I'm on board, okay? Ice cream cake should be eaten frozen. Other cake, I'm sorry, no, I'm not with you. I'm not with you. Telling them, so doesn't Black Buddha use charcoal? No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. They're prepared in a professional bakery. Oh, okay, gotcha. Um, You'd need an excuse to hold a party? Just go pagan, the new moon, the equinox, the solstice. Yeah, absolutely, Jessica. Yeah, and, I mean, but at the end of the day, you don't need an excuse. You can just say, "Hey, we're celebrating a day," and that's it. I don't why lie about it? You're not interested in the solstice, Jessica. You just want a party. Like, just be honest, all right? Just be honest. You don't care about the solstice. Don't lie to me. Hey, Jin Yu. How you doing, you goat? And I mean that as the greatest of all time. Archer, my dad ate chocolate cake like most people eat cereal in a bowl with milk. Okay, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. Okay. Okay. Look, if you want to eat cake with milk, that's totally fine. But it says to me that the cake isn't moist enough, quite frankly. But hey, he does here. Look, you wouldn't. I could see you doing that with a sponge. You wouldn't do that with a cheesecake, right? Like a cheesecake with milk. No, 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 no. Phantom says, when I was in high school, I had a poster called "Just in case you need an excuse to party." It was some event that happened on every date. Nice, nice. Aunt Jess says, are people having traditionally babes' house and gender reveal parties? He's excessive and like a gift grift. Yeah, maybe, maybe. But see, the thing is, if it's a grift, they're going to lose out in the end. It probably takes more to throw a party, like more expense to throw a party, than you are going to get on gifts, kind of thing. So, I can't see people doing that as a grift. It's more, I really look at it as more a social status thing. That they're throwing this. I have had frozen cake, but it's been ice cream cake, which doesn't really count because that is supposed to be frozen. That is supposed to be frozen. Interesting. Okay, so what did the poll say? What did people say for this one? Oh, that's the wrong button. Poster was good. Really? Okay. Well, I disagree. I disagree vehemently. I think that just doing something to make someone upset, um, Demon says, I'm now talking about cake. Me and sort of going to put in a request for obstacle test. Put in a request for obstacle test for the wedding this weekend. We've literally done nothing when it comes to planning. I didn't even know you were engaged. Oh, yes, you did get engaged recently, didn't you, Deviant? Yeah. Is an obstacle test like you go to do it and see what things come up to screw you up kind of thing? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about? I don't know even how to plan a wedding. I've not told my best man I want him to be my best man. Okay. Well, I mean, it depends on how big it is. Lynn and I planned our own, but it was really just a small gathering. We just thought a bit of food to keep people tied over, some drinks to tide people over, and celebrant and music was what we went through. I mean, we just got our own music and set up a wireless sort of thing. But then again, there was only like would have been about 20 people at our wedding, if that, including the celebrant. And Lynn had friends that were photographers, so yeah. But it doesn't have to be a huge thing. It doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be that way. I know that sort of people have these traditional weddings and invite every person in there who has ever crossed their existence, but I didn't feel the need to do that. I basically had um, my best friend, um, my family, and my best friend was the best man. So yeah, um, and I don't think I even had any other real friends there. I don't think I think it was mostly Lynn's friends, to be honest with you. Then again, I don't have a lot of friends to invite, so, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why it has to be a huge, huge ordeal. You know what? I'm gonna upvote that. That was fine. Okay. Yes, nah, it's just the authority. Look, you sound Australian there. Yeah, nah. It's just the authority on checking so none of us are already married or we're first cousins or something that would make it so we couldn't get married due to law. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, look, if you know if soot is related to you, you have bigger problems than the government being involved. Quite frankly. Okay. You know what? I got to admit, Aunt you, low key, I thought the same thing. I thought it was like they're like standing there with clipboards, going, "Okay, now prepare the wedding, toast, and you've got 10 minutes, like come up with a wedding toast." It's like, you know, it's prepare your vows and you've got 10 minutes to do it. Imagine Soot just there going, uh, deviant shuffling through her Egyptian mythology going, can I get some vows out of this thing? I'm sorry. Okay. And next one up from Throws NSAWA. Are you from Western Australia? Look, I was thinking of doing like a loose series over a long period of time, sort of tales from Western Australia. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that has happened in Western Australia. You wouldn't believe it, right? Like you would not believe it. It would blow your mind. And I was thinking of like doing some videos explaining them, maybe try that out, see if I can put that on my channel, because this state has had some wild stuff go down. Some stuff that I didn't even know about until I started looking it up. Like it is wild out here. So I was thinking of doing that. So in the chat or in the comments, if you're watching this later, let me know if you're interested in seeing some weird ass tales from where I live, because holy crap. Throws NSAWA. Am I the asshole for refusing to give up my life insurance payout and asking my ex's family to refinance the car he left me? Hold it, let me pass this one. Refusing to give up my life insurance payout. Well, I mean, I don't know what. So asking my ex's family to refinance the car he left me. So your ex died and you got a payout, but you want your ex's family to refinance the car instead of using the insurance payout. Well, why would the ex's family refinance your car? I don't get this one. Like they just lost a son or something. You're gonna basically want the family to do it. I don't understand why if you got a payout from life insurance. Okay, this seems a bit weird. Let's read more because the first time it's like, well, yeah, you're a bit of an asshole, basically wanting a grieving family to refinance your car instead of using an insurance payout. I don't. Wow. So my ex passed away recently in a work-related accident. It's sad, of course. Yeah, it is sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. And that sucks. Yeah, I was talking about to Lynn about these period pieces. She was watching what was it? Pride and Prejudice kind of thing. And I'm sort of like, yeah, sort of this was upper middle class that it was sort of the setting of these things with balls and I mean, really they're upper class. It's like balls and fine dresses and stuff, but like sort of saying, hey, you got to remember that most people were like living in abject poverty during these times. Like most of the peasantry were almost starving, lucky to get together enough to eat. Um, and this is because it was the days before fertilizer and the time that we live in where we don't have to really worry, I mean, that much about finding food. Um, like and you've got to remember that they used to do things like so this is sort of 17th century kind of thing. um no, it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a great movie, Left-Handed Jedi. It wasn't that good. I disagree with you, but they used to send like chimney sweeps, for instance, were kids because they could fit down chimneys, and like they didn't, they didn't really care if somebody died in an accident at work. They're just like that's the cost of working. You people go on with your lives. It was really a brutal time, and mostly because they didn't have the industrial protections that we're sort of used to say, hey, if you lose somebody, the person employing you is responsible for that loss, or it needs to be a safe working environment. There was none of that at that time. So, and I think that period pieces kind of um they kind of wash over that kind of like, it's all pageantry and ball gowns and opulence. No, that was for only like a tiny percentage. And I think it's sort of it leads people to think that the yesteryear used to be all of this fine stuff. No, for the majority of the population, it was not. It was, you know, consumption, i.e., tuberculosis, poverty, misery, and just working 12 hours a day for almost nothing in compensation. Um, well, you know what? I had a bet with Big Bad Mama. They tried to write one, and it absolutely flopped. So it has been tried before. Look, I don't know. I don't know. So my ex passed away in a work-related accident. It's sad, of course. I have a lot of mixed emotions about it. But the truth is, we hadn't been together in over a year when it happened. You hadn't been together in over a year. We were together for 5 years. We broke up because he cheated on me and got someone else pregnant. Okay, well that kind of sucks. That breakup wrecked me. It took a long time to recover. I haven't seen it since. After the breakup, I went no contact. I've spent the past year healing, learning to be happy again, and moving on. Okay. I didn't go to the funeral. I didn't want to see the baby mama or his family. That's fair. That is fair. And while I'm not happy he's gone, I can't say I'm devastated anymore either. I grieved this person when I left the relationship. Now, here's where things get complicated. Of course, it does. 6 months after our breakup and after the baby was born, he took out a life insurance policy. In it, he named me as the 50% beneficiary. Okay. His mum and baby mama each got 25. I didn't know this until the insurance company called me. Well, maybe he felt responsible for your well-being into the future because, it's it he cheated on you and left. Look, a lot of guys, they do this kind of thing. Like, I won't say they don't. A lot of guys do, but they do feel horribly guilty and responsible for this kind of stuff. A lot of people have a lot of regrets about this stuff. I Yeah, he was obviously a jerk that cheated on you and got somebody else pregnant, but that doesn't mean he doesn't love you, right? So that's the thing we've got to understand. Like, um, obviously, you don't you don't do that to somebody because it harms them so much. But at the same time, that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. You can do harm to people and still love them, right? Like, that is possible. And if he loved you and he regretted his actions, he might do that. But yeah, you're surprised. Okay, that's fair. Um, I assumed it was some paperwork left over from when we were together, but nope, this was a new policy dated well after the breakup. That means it was his decision. It's his decision. At the same time, you could probably go to court to challenge that will. To be honest with you, challenging wills is hard. I think it would just result in the lawyers making money. To be honest with you, if there's way to peacefully settle it, I'd probably do that. At the same time, there's a car. He financed it while we were still together, but it's under my name and credit. I begged him for over a year to refinance it to the point the only reason I ever contacted him was for the refinancing of that car. Okay, it's under your name and credit, then why don't you just take the car back? I doubt he was ever going to. Now that he's gone, it's still tied to me. The car is sitting. Oh, you've already got the car. Okay. It's still sitting in your garage, and his family has reached out saying the baby mama needs it for work. I told them, fine, you can have it as soon as it's refinanced and no longer on my credit. I will gladly sign whatever paper they need, but I'm not going to risk my credit on people I don't trust to make payments. No, never do that. Never do that. Never have something being repaid, like something's being financed and you're repaying it, and then put it into their name and trust that they will do it. No, never, ever, ever do that. If they want the car, then they can take responsibility for the rest of the payments. No, 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 no. Never ever have a debt in your name that's being paid off by somebody else. No, because you can't trust that they will do it, and it is your credit score that's going to be impacted. Like, even if that's a family member, even if that's anybody, get it transferred legally so the debt is in their name. Absolutely. Absolutely. And now they're demanding that I give up the life insurance payout too. That I should do the right thing and give it to his mum or the baby mama. But here's the thing, I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask to be put on that policy. He made that choice after everything that happened between us. Honestly, I feel like I earned that money. Well, that's not the point. It doesn't matter what you feel like. It matters what he wanted to have, right? Where he wanted that to be going, right? Like, it's not a matter of what you feel like or it's a matter of what he wanted. I spent 5 years with that man, 5 years dealing with the stress, the gaslighting, the emotional pain, the betrayal. I loved him so deeply and I lost so much trying to make that relationship work. I stayed with him until I found out his baby mama was pregnant because he was actively hiding it from me at the time. Damn. Oh, that sucks. What a jerk. I was with him through the worst parts of his life. If anything, this money feels like the only thing I ever got back from all the bullshit. He chose to leave it to me, probably because deep down he knew how badly he treated me. And that's the thing. Like, you might say, hey, it's best for the well-being of everybody if you give that to the woman with the child. Okay, but we also have to consider the implications for how well will our society do if we do not honor the wishes of people that leave this mortal coil, right? That it is important for society that we honor the requests of people leaving their estate to whoever, right? That is important, because if we are exiting this life and we go, well, I don't know what will happen to my stuff because it can just go wherever, and even if I make a will, that doesn't matter. It's not a good thing, right? That provides a lot of comfort for people, that they can make a will and say, hey, I want it going to, my first cousin who I was close with, or my daughter who I love above all else, or, it goes to the ex that I absolutely treated like complete crap, and I feel that I want to make it up for her. Um, I I think that I don't see it as immoral if you just honor what that person is doing. I think it's entirely reasonable and it's fine. Like, I don't think, and I think that I don't think there's anything that she is doing that is wrong at all. Um, I don't see, like, if he wants to leave her the money, great. If she has the car in her name, do not transfer it to somebody else's name to pay off the debt. If the credit is not going into somebody else's name as well. Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I think that they're absolutely morally correct, to be honest with you. But I'll put up the poll. You can disagree if you want. Always happy to listen to disagreements, and I can always rely on my chat to disagree with me, because they can't let me have anything. Was the poster right for hanging on to car and um, payout? Phantom, is that your God argument, the one where you basically define God as almost anything and then claim that you win because the definition of God is just anything at all? Because that isn't great. I won't lie, that isn't great. It is not great. I will put it that way. It's not great, mate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not fantastic. I'm sorry. Oh dear. All right, let's see what the Redditors have to say. Not the arsehole. It's your money and your car. Block all of them and move on. OP says, yeah, that's how it's looking, but I don't know why it's so hard to refinance the car. I don't want this car either, and I feel bad about selling it. Yeah. 100% he knew what he was doing, not the arsehole. Yeah, yeah, it probably does feel bad. Probably does feel bad. If I'd done something like that to somebody, I'd probably want them to have something, maybe not 50%, but something, you know. Croft says, offer to sell them the car for the amount still owed on it. Then tell them they have 2 weeks to make that decision, and then you'll put it on the open market yourself. Yeah, it's 23,800. It's like the entire settlement for it. Yeah, that's not your fault though. That's not. Oops, that's not your fault. That's not your problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. It's not their problem. Not the asshole left that money to you, not to anyone else. It's yours. As for the car, honestly, given the situation, I'd just sell it and move on with my life. Lock his mother and his baby mama. At this point, they're nothing to you and you're owed nothing. Leave them in your rear view. I kind of agree. Like, obviously, she's hurting and in less grief, as she says, than they are, because she has been through a breakup and sort of left him behind already. So, um, I think that she just needs to move on with her life. I do agree. I think sort of getting entangled in these things is probably a bad idea. Um, if they're making demands like, "Oh, well, you've got to give us the car and give us the settlement and all of this stuff," I would probably just move on as well. Yeah, just say, "Hey, see ya." It sucks, but yeah. Uh, Neutral guy says, "How's the car under your name, but also somehow not your car?" My credit was better than him, so we financed it under my name and credit. Then it's yours. Then it's yours. It's not your car. It's just yours. I think what she's trying to say is, hey, he was using the car, but it was financed under her name. But I mean, it's her car. Like she obviously had it for a year. I don't understand. Hey, Berius, good to see you, mate. Um, Everything you've done is legal, but well, it's not legality that we're looking at, it's morality, what ought to be done. Um, I don't know. Like, I guess at the end of the day, I do support that whatever like, if he wanted to give the entire estate to his baby mama, then he would have done so. That's the whole thing. I don't see why we're sort of second guessing what he wanted when he left a will saying what he wanted. I don't understand that. It sucks, yeah. It sucks for her because he's given this money to his ex, but be angry at him, not her. You know, you're my favorite Aussie. Who is Angela White? I've got to see who this is. Okay, I didn't need to look that up, but thank you. Thank you. I mean, I don't have an OnlyFans yet, but time will tell. Time will tell. Who knows how desperate I will get? Who knows? Who knows? There you go. Oh, look, I don't really shame, actresses like that. It's just not cool. No one cares. Says not the asshole. He willingly left you knowing he had a child and left them the money as well. It's not like he gave you everything. Personally, I would sell the car or take in your car and this car and use it to get a better one for you. Yeah, yeah. Gotcha. You certainly did. You certainly did. Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't see how um how um like how honoring the wishes of somebody that hurts you makes you a bad person. Look, you may be morally superior, right? You may be morally superior if you do give them the money. Like it may be a very, very, very kind gesture, but I don't see that as a moral obligation. I don't see that as something you have to do. So no, definitely not morally bankrupt. I think that, you know, if he wants you to have it and, he was an asshole to you and it's part of his feeling better on his deathbed or whatever, then honor it. I don't see a problem with that. And definitely don't transfer a car into somebody else's name if they're going to pay it off for it. No way. No way. They need to refinance and have it in their name as well as the credit in their name as well. That's the only way to do it. And that's the same of anybody, no matter whether it's your parents or your child or anybody. Anybody. I do not accept other people being responsible for paying off my debt because if they don't, I'm the one that gets copped for it, and that's not going to happen. So, you know, that's a rule. That's a boundary, and we've got to definitely stick up for our boundaries. Okay, what have you people got to say? Uh, Yeah, that's basic. Okay, so a good pre-sup there. I probably need to do a video on pre-sup as well. I really want to do videos on stuff. I don't have a ton of time, but I will try. I will try. I really want to talk about sort of the fatal flaws of pre-sup because it's getting everywhere and it's such a terrible argument. Um, you need to buy new earbuds. You can't hear anything once I'm on the shop floor. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't like earbuds, they fall out. I like cans for headphones, but yeah, I probably not able to on floor, I get you. Um, Deviant Outcast says the now dead ex knew what he was doing. He knew the situation with the baby and the baby mum. He set it up this way. He set it up the way he wanted to set it up, and that should be honored regardless. I agree. I 100% agree. Um, lol, isn't no one was good and everyone is bad basically the same? What, did I mistype it? Okay, I mistyped it. You're right. I meant to say no one was bad. Andrew, Andrew, why? That could have slipped by through the end of the entire thing. How dare you? How dare you? But thank you for pointing that out. I didn't notice. I was tired this morning. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Only if good and bad are a true dichotomy. Yeah, but it's not getting at the heart of the matter. I get what Andrew's saying. He's absolutely right, Phantom. Absolutely. You don't have to cover for me, mate. I'm actually screwed up. If you haven't set one with the dress, you could sell it and get yourself new earbuds. Yeah, 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 absolutely. Uh, yeah, no, Tilting, you should have brought it up. See, Andrew knows enough that knows that I don't know what I'm doing, so he questions me all the time. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Various Al's in here. Yeah, yeah, Al's here. He was here earlier. You're working on figuring out Blender, start making some content. Yeah, that's a graphics program. There's so much to learn. I didn't realize it's so much to learn. It's a read rule, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the read rule. Oh, hello, Nancy. So good to see you. I did do an interview with you, Nancy. Is that coming out anytime? Or no, I don't mean to hurry you. I just, I really, I know you've got to edit, and I know that takes so long. I'm just curious. That's all. You like Blender? You use it a lot, do you? Okay, cool, cool. Thanks, Spielcub. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it always. Uh, but yeah, I will do one last one. But I really, I don't know. I feel like I should be making more content. Then I'm like, those should statements are not helpful. I want to make more content, is really how I frame it. This is a tide over from a ton of therapy that I've done. Should statements aren't useful, they just make you feel bad. So I try to avoid these should statements like, oh, I should be getting more stuff out there. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. Rather, it's like, I want to do that. That is something I want. And that reframes it as a voluntary thing instead of making yourself feel guilty for not doing something. And the poster was good. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. The poll says poster was good. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, and one last one. Yeah, I'd love to be there for the premiere, Nancy, just to support and encourage and all of that kind of stuff. Hang on, let me. So I have an interview that's probably coming up soon, ish, on a May. Let me just give you, if you haven't posted it up, I'll just post the channel. I have been checking. I don't know. I sound so egotistical. Oh, I'm checking to see when my interview will be up. Look, I just really like talking to the Apostate Sisters, and that's the channel. So if you're not subscribed to them, definitely go and do it. They've got some amazing. The last one that I saw of the Apostate Sisters with Ambushed Apostate Seth. It was really good. It was really good and very interesting. Mostly they talk to apostates, but they talk to all kinds, and it's a very awesome community. Very nice people. Really, really impressed. Okay, so next up from you, ruined Mother's Day. There's trouble. There's trouble. May 13, 2025. This was obviously made to do it. Okay. You were too late. Damn, Deviant, you got to get faster there. Got to get faster. Okay, am I the asshole for telling my foster sister she ruined Mother's Day? Well, maybe. Is it true? Like, I don't know. I don't like people that go, "Oh, well, you ruined this day." It's like it has to be pretty egregious, right, to ruin it. Like, "Oh, you ruined Christmas," and it's like, look, I got you socks." I that's not ruining Chris. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know whether this one's going to be, oh, you ruined it and all you did is did something that's very minor and doesn't, cause a minor inconvenience, or, you know, you got roaring drunk and punched grandma in the face or something. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that might be ruining Christmas. Okay. That might cover ruining the day. If you just got somebody socks and they didn't like them, I don't think that qualifies. So I think this is all about what actually happened. So I'm going to reserve my judgment on this one from the title and just go in to um, do it. Okay. I'm 17, female, the youngest of 6 kids. Okay. I'm the only one still at home full time. Home full time? Okay. Are there part time people at home? I don't. Okay. Weird. Weird. My parents decided the house felt too empty, so they started fostering Lola, 9, a few months ago. Lola's cute, but she's kind of a pain in the ass. Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, 9-year-olds can be a massive pain in the ass. I get that. Hmm, I get that. Hey, Tori, welcome back. You're on your way home? Cool. Chill, relax, take a load off. We have a big sectional recliner. Lola refuses to sit on the couch with us, so she has her own chair that is off limits to everybody else. Okay, that's a bit weird. That's a bit weird. If you live with people, ah, can dad have his own chair? Yeah, but I mean, come on. You might have like a chair that you have priority to sit in. You can't have your own chair that no one else is allowed to sit in. That's a bit weird. Okay, that's a bit weird. I, you know, I I don't know about that one. I think that a household like if your dad has his favorite recliner and like if he wants it, he gets it. I get that, right? Or someone has a favorite chair. I get that. You give it up for them and sit somewhere else because that's their favorite. I get that. What I don't get is something that nobody else is allowed to sit in. It's off limits to you. Really? How big do you think my ass is going to spoil your chair for you? If anything, I keep it warm, right? So, um, and when I was really young, I used to work in call centers, right? Like, so this is probably about 20 onwards or so. And the very first one that I worked in at that age, we had hot seating. And hot seating is like, basically you don't have a desk of your own, you just take a desk. Like later jobs are, you have your own desk and that's your desk kind of thing. But hot seating is just like you come in, there's like a floor, and I mean a floor of a building just filled with computers, open plan office. So it's basically no walls. There's some offices somewhere, but apart from that, it's just an entire floor of computers, and you'll just sit wherever's available, right? That's basically how it worked. Um, and so, yeah, I mean, it's funny actually. I used to try and find a couple of people that, and you'd try to sit next to people that you're friends, and there were people that I used to play chess against basically while I was working because it was such mindless work. It was directory assistance. So you were like directory assistance, what name, please? And then you would basically go on to search it. It was before sort of AI stuff and automated stuff. So it was like you would type out the name and search it kind of thing. And I was that bored. I would search for people to play chess against. The few people that would play while they were working. It was such a boring job, like seriously. But I mean, that's where I started. Um, if I want to go out to eat, it has to be with my dad or when my oldest sister, 29, is available to babysit because restaurants are too much for Lola. Restaurants are too much for Lola. Is she on the spectrum? Look, we went out. for Lynn's birthday the other day, and it was a very noisy restaurant. We both kind of noticed, and um, you know, if Lynn and I are in a noisy place, because noise really affects us, we get timeouts and we step away if we have to. We understand that noisy things are going to be a problem. I think I cope a bit better than Lynn does. I think I can cope a bit better than Lynn does, but it's still a problem. If we get takeout, she stays in her room and won't come out to eat until the rest of us are done. The only way she'll eat with us is if my mum cooks, so we have to do that almost every night. Oh, that's sad. She hides food in her room, which attracts bugs, but she has a huge fear of bugs, so they've switched her room twice and have it deep cleaned every week to stop it getting infested with bugs. She's also extremely attached to my mum and my older sister, so if they're around, everything revolves around her. Oh, no, I can't stand chewing either, Phantom, that's fair enough. I support your wife in this. It's called misophonia. Misophonia is the word that you're looking for. It's basically um, an aversion to noise of some sort, and chewing's one of those. Look, there's nothing worse if you're on, like, a call, like you're gaming with people and somebody's just nom nom. It's like, please mute yourself. It's like nails down a chalkboard for me. It nope, nope. Um, look, it's she's very attached to my mum and my older sister. Was she maybe hurt by a guy, that, hiding food, um attachment to women, maybe some guy hurt. That's horrible though. Ah, poor girl. I mean, some kids in the foster system have been really hurt, and that's sucks. Oh, the autism spectrum, spill cab, autism spectrum. So, I'm yeah, yeah, yeah. Phantom's got it. Um, On Sunday, we had a big Mother's Day party with our entire family. All of my siblings, most of my aunts, uncles, and cousins, and my grandparents came over. Everyone was in the backyard, but Lola was overwhelmed, so she made my mum stay in her room with her. My older sister tried to step in, but that ended up with both of them having to stay with her. After everyone left, I found my mum and Lola in the kitchen making Lola's mac and cheese and dino nuggets, and I told Lola she completely ruined Mother's Day for us by clinging to my mum. Oh, okay, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. That does not help. She started crying and went to her room. She hasn't left her room since I said that, and apparently my mum's having a hard time getting to eat now, so my parents are pissed with me. I don't think I did anything wrong because I just told her the truth, but I wanted to see if I was the ass saying that. Well, yeah, obviously. Look, she has some kind of emotional or mental issue. Like, holy crap. She needs more help than just your parents, though. She needs professional help. Like, holy shit. If sh Like, this all speaks of a little girl that's been abused in some way. I don't know how, but, if she's hiding in her room and only trusts certain people and doesn't trust anybody else, like, telling her she ruins things isn't gonna help things. Holy crap. Wow. That just seems callous to me. Like, why aren't you blaming your mother for, like, hanging around Lola? It's yeah, wow. To me, I mean, they fostered Lola. She's cute, but she's a pain in the ass. Like, seriously, you're talking about someone that's been abused, probably. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's just a coping individual. And that it doesn't get that way for no reason. Oh, hello, Patty. So good to see you. So good to see you. Interesting. I absolutely like you know, why aren't you angry at your mother for being with her? Like, why blame her? It's yeah, that's horrible. Like, presumably the parents knew what happened. Well, give me a second, Phantom. I'm just doing the the poll. Was the poster right for chastising? I do like that word, chastising. Chastising the foster daughter. Okay, now the responses have been upgraded. Okay, as per Andrew's request, the responses now make more sense. Okay, and they're not duplicated because apparently today I can't get logic right. Apparently today, according to Andrew, I can't get logic right, which is fair. I mean, that is true. That is 100% true. But you know. Okay, what have the Redditors got to say here? Sounds like to me some therapy is in order for all of you. Yeah, absolutely. And finding out sort of how the therapist would recommend, even to, like, I mean, yeah, she's freaking 17, wasn't she? 17, yeah. So she's still pretty young herself. But listening to a therapist about how you should engage with her would be a really good idea. I mean, obviously, a 17-year-old is not going to know how to engage with a 9-year-old that's probably the product of an abusive household kind of thing. I don't, you know, especially your foster sister and how your mum and sister are handling her. It seems like they don't really know how to deal with the situation properly. I'm going to give you a little bit of grace for understand where you're coming from, even if the situation is as black and white as you think it is. Also, your parents should be fostering just because the house is too empty lately. I'm going to say not the arsehole. No, you know what? I'm gonna say they're still an asshole. Agreed, and I'm shocked, quite frankly, that the home qualified as a foster home for a child clearly experiencing trauma as well as behavioural issues. Where is the training and therapeutic assistance for this family? The fact that OP is suffering tremendous with the interaction of a young child unaccustomed to the family's lifestyle, just by virtue of being in foster care. Yeah, I mean, the parents may know and be able to deal with it, but I mean, this is a 17-year-old. Like, you've got to have a talk with her and say, hey, I don't know. I feel like the 17-year-old maybe doesn't know the situation, which yeah, it is the parents' fault if the 17-year-old has no idea. Haddison says Laura is behaving like she does, hoarding food, clinging, etc., because of trauma she experienced in the past year. She's not just being a random needy kid. She has almost assuredly faced neglect and abandonment before, beyond just the fact that she's in the foster system. Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. That obviously doesn't make it easy to be a sibling in that situation, but sometimes context can help to turn the view of she's an annoying little kid to she's been deeply hurt and my family is trying to help her heal. Yeah, and the thing is, a big sister could absolutely, um, absolutely help with that. You know, like absolutely, you know, the big sister could be so supportive. Like you know, this is the problem. She's just hurt her, and she could have been so good for a girl in that situation. Anyway, on the specific situation, I'll say soft, you're the arsehole for how harsh the delivery was, but overall, it's also hard to blame a 17-year-old for suddenly having to adapt to a new sibling that upended everything. Did you or your parents have a lot of conversations about the change that having a foster would mean, the challenges that come along with it? Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Every single annoying thing Lola does is a classic trauma response. Refusing to sit on a shared sofa is 100% a red. Okay, for shared prior sexual abuse. Presumably the case for managers and OP parents are aware of this, but they have spared OP from knowing the details. Yeah, that could be the same. Hoarding food is an extremely logical result of someone not having food in the past. Possible Lola also has some sensory issues. Restaurants are too noisy. Pickiness could be an extremely limited diet where younger, scarcity, poverty, lack of cooking, and intentionally being denied food. Only eating things by the OP's mum. Yeah, okay. Well, also only eating things by the OP's mum would, yeah. Oh, wow. It's so sad. You know, I'm gonna go for arsehole. Like, maybe she didn't mean to be an arsehole, but an arsehole she definitely was. Definitely was. Why did your mother have a huge party when her foster child can barely tolerate the residents in the household being in the home with her? Well, I mean, she didn't say it was a huge party. Did she say it was a huge party? We had a big Mother's Day party with our entire family. Yeah, I mean, life does go on, but, I get you. OP, I don't care if you are or aren't an arsehole. What I care about is your mother and incapable of taking care of this particular foster child. She's enabling this behavior as if it's feeding her need not to have an empty nest. I mean, I don't know if it's enabling their behavior, but she needs professional help with this child, and I would like to get more information whether they are doing that or not, like whether she is getting support from some kind of a therapist or somebody to help her. OP, you don't have a foster kid problem, you have a mum problem. Okay. Yeah, okay, okay, Reddit, settle down. We don't know what mental, yeah, exactly, and this guy actually comes up. We don't know if it's involved, don't know what recommendations were made. The mum didn't create the event. It sounds like she was bonded by pride and yeah. So we don't know that. So I think this person's just making a whole load of assumptions. That's Reddit for you. I mean, Reddit, the definition of Reddit is making a whole load of assumptions on very little information. I'll do one more of these and then I'll see what you've got to thing. Yeah, sorry, you're the arsehole. I get that you're frustrated. It does sound like a lot of the attention of shifts to Lola and can be hard, especially on a day like Mother's Day, when you probably wanted your mum to yourself too. But Lola is 9. She's a foster kid, means she's almost definitely coming from a traumatic or unstable background. Yes, as all like if someone's a foster kid, you can almost guarantee they've had some trauma in their life. They wouldn't be in the foster system if their, parents weren't in trouble or they hadn't had something happen to, like, you can almost guarantee they would have had some trauma. And all of the things you mentioned, eating separately, needing certain people around, being afraid of bugs, are huge signs she's struggling with anxiety and possibly trauma. Yeah. Telling her she ruined Mother's Day isn't just harsh, it's something a 9-year-old internalizes and can feel deep shame about. Yeah, this, absolutely. Internalization of guilt. So, internalization of guilt is when we feel guilty about something and we internalize it to be that is something wrong with me. And people that have been abused, especially those who have been psychologically abused, it's very easy for them to internalize that kind of guilt into shame, that they should be ashamed of themselves for ruining Mother's Day or um, um, not allowing the family to go to some place or something like that. It can be really, really tough. She's choosing to be this way to she's not choosing to be this way to make your life harder. She literally doesn't know how to cope yet. Well, she is coping, right? All of these behaviors are coping mechanisms, right? She hoards food because she can't cope with the feeling of fear that she might not be fed. She's going to a room all by herself because she can't cope with the anxiety and stress of other people. Like, all of this is coping. She is coping. It's just what we want to do is have some healthier coping mechanisms and less of the unhealthy ones. But she is coping because she's still here. She's dealing with it in some way. It might not be the healthiest way to deal with it. That's what we've got to understand. These maladaptive behaviors that we see, they're a way to cope, right? They are behavior that is coping with whatever is coming in. Um, the trick is to have some more healthy behaviors. So if you can't, you know, cope with your fear, you might lash out at everybody around you. Well, you are coping with the fear, but it's an unhealthy way of doing it. Stuff like that. Like, instead, you can communicate that you're afraid, and that's a way better coping mechanism to cope with it. Um, That said, your feelings are also valid. Look, okay. So feelings are always valid, in my opinion. Like, there's no invalid feelings. Feelings aren't sort of reality. They're not there to tell you how the world is or how you should react. but all feelings are valid. They're just there to tell you something about yourself. So the thoughts behind the feelings may not be true or accurate, but the feelings are always valid. And it's important to acknowledge those. Yeah, you're feeling frustrated because a new member of the family is upending your life. Um, I think um, I don't yeah, I don't think wrong and right can apply to feelings, Andrew. I think that the thoughts behind them are right and wrong, but the feelings are all, there's no wrong or right to feelings. They are just feelings. So if you think, for instance, your wife is cheating on you or something, right? Let's just say that. That thought may be completely and utterly incorrect, right? You've got this suspicion and it's completely incorrect. But the feeling itself, it's telling you about some insecurity within yourself. Like, so it's not wrong in any way because you are feeling insecure. It's not right or wrong. It just is a feeling. Um, so yeah, I don't. I think feelings are valid, and I can understand why a 17-year-old has somebody who completely upends their relationships that were currently sort of set in the household, where usually probably the mother would, share time between all people, and then she's focused on one child because that child needs it, right? And the 17-year-old obviously has feelings about being, you know, ignored herself, but this is where we can talk to a therapist and say, hey, this is where what I feel like. This wasn't it sucks to feel pushed aside or like everything revolves around someone else, but this isn't the way to handle it. Yeah, absolutely. You need to talk to your parents or a therapist about how you're being impacted too, instead of lashing out at a little kid who's already going through it. You know what? Many breakfast, I salute you. You're a good people. Yes, absolutely. Don't take the it out on other people. It's this poor little kid. And you're not saying, hey, I didn't see my mum and I really wanted to see my mum. I would have liked to see you as well. But what makes me sad is the 17-year-old could be such a wonderful role model for a 9-year-old. The big sister, protect them, share with them stuff, show them how to cope in a healthy way. It could be so good for her. It's just a real shame that she feels this way. But yeah, a lot of different and conflicting things going through. What do you lovely people have to say? Let's go up. Um, just going to the top. Doo-doo-doo. Yep. Berius says, if your mother was happy on Mother's Day, then was a good day. Doesn't matter how anyone else felt, technically. But I'm assuming reasonable behavior, of course. Yeah, no, I tend to agree, Berius. If your mother has a Mother's Day, well, don't forget there are other mothers there as well, right? If she invited the entire family, there's cousins, there's aunts, there's, all kinds of people there. There'll be other mothers there as well. So it was a celebration for mothers in general. But you do have a really good point, and I think this is a fantastic point, Berius. If the mother wants to spend her Mother's Day taking care of a 9-year-old, who are you to tell her on Mother's Day how she spends her day, right? Like it's not up to you; it's up to her. And if she is happy doing that, then that's what she's happy doing. I think that is a good point. I really do. It's like, it's my birthday and I'll cry if I want to, kind of thing. I think that is true. If you want to spend your birthday celebration going roller skating and everyone says that's stupid, who are you to tell somebody how they should celebrate their day? I get you. I think that's a very good point. I really do. Um, your son is all excited. Oh, that's awesome. 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 Andrew, best to your son. Yeah, it's 8. Oh, wow. What did I say? He's 8. Wow. Awesome. Aunt Jo says, Mark, the foster system may have been taken from a traumatic abusive home. Yeah, we don't know what kind of trauma response she has. Well, it seems like she does have some that are very, very evident. So, yeah, like I don't think the 17-year-old understands what trauma is. Like, did you at 17 understand um, how trauma worked, what kind of maladaptive behaviors you would get out of that, and how that cope? I didn't understand any of that at 17. I can tell you I may have acted the same at 17, but at 17 I was probably a bit of an asshole just because I didn't understand any of that stuff. Um, which is fair. I get that they're 17 too. I see that person saying, "Hey, it's a soft one because you're so young." I get what they mean. Like, she obviously has no clue what her foster sister is going through. Um, and sitting down and talking with her parents and, preferably a therapist about what she can do to help would be really good, like, really good. Your husband hates him, including yourself. Oh, look, you know, I won't say it really bothers. Sometimes there's an echo in a public toilet, and you're like, man, this is way too loud. Like, seriously, there must be people outside the restroom going, "What did that man drink today?" I do admit I have thought that before. Um, I don't like eating around people. No, fair enough. I guess I don't really mind too much. I just if it's noisy, I feel out of place and stuff. Phantom says OP is the arsehole. That's fair. Art just says yes, arsehole. Yeah, agrees. You don't say that kind of thing to someone who was rescued for abuse. Yeah, absolutely, I agree. The only mitigating factor is a 17-year-old may not know that, and I get that, but you know, you would have hoped that the parents would make that clear before the foster daughter moved in. Like, I get that maybe you don't want to upset the 17-year-old, so you don't tell them the details of where Lola here, 9, is coming from. But you really need to tell them and say, hey, this is going to be difficult and you could support, like, yeah, maybe they did and it didn't sink in. We don't know, but yeah, it's still an asshole move. Absolutely. Maybe not intentionally so, but yeah. Yeah. Deviant Outcast says, what the actual fudge? Yes, you poster are the asshole. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Back in the 90s, I was carrying people with what is real autism? What I meant, no, that's non-verbal autism, sir. They weren't able to speak and weren't able to react to the verbal. That's non-verbal. That's not real autism. That's just non-verbal autism. That's real autism. No, that's non-verbal, Spielkeb. That's non-verbal. Like, it's all real autism. I don't. You do realize it's called the autism spectrum. Like, you're talking about one end of the spectrum. They used to call people on the other end, like high functioning, like myself, Asperger's, but they don't call it that anymore because it's kind of it delineates between the conditions, which are exactly the same, and it just matters of the severity of it, basically. So no, that's not a thing. That's absolutely not a thing. Real autism is not a thing, dude. Like, seriously, what? Yeah, okay, yep. And Lynn says, real autism by that definition is level 3 autism now. Yeah, yep. Sorry, in my definition, you weren't able to take part in this. Oh, don't be a jerk, man. Seriously, you like, are you sitting there going, oh well, somebody has um, uh, 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 you know, uh, mental impairment, and you're like, well, it's only people that can't communicate properly that have real mental impairment. And then you're saying, well, if you've got mental impairment, you can't communicate. Don't be a jerk, man. Like, this is an actual diagnosed condition. Okay, this is not you deciding who's on the autism spectrum and what it's defined as, Spielkeb. You're talking about medical definitions here. Like, seriously. When I was Tori says, when I was doing telemarketing, there was a group of us, because a rather large group when we merged offices, that we call shithead row. We're forever cacking, jagging, and acting foolish. Yeah, yeah. And I get you. Sometimes it does feel like in those massive call centers that you're in high school, in absolute high school. Malicious compliance and mildly interesting. Yeah, malicious compliance. I don't know. Yeah, some of them are great, some of them are not. Um, Regardless of what she's been through, the mere situation of having to be separated from their parents, even abusive parents, and going to an unknown world is traumatic for a child. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody is in the foster system that hasn't had a real rough time. Like, you won't get there, either their parents died or they were abused in some, just being there, something had to happen, right? Like, there had to be something, or else they wouldn't be in the foster system. No problem. Yeah, no, I really think that, I've learned a lot about the things that I do that are probably not the best. Like, I'm not perfect. I definitely have things that I could, like, if I'm feeling very worn down and run down, I do isolate a lot. And that's a coping. It probably isn't the best coping behavior for feeling overwhelmed, is to push everybody away from me. It's not great, right? It's not great. There are probably healthier things I could do to make it clear. But, I mean, I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? But, that's how I cope, and it's probably not the healthiest way to cope, but that is how I cope. Feelings are input. I agree. Yeah, no, and that's harmful. That's absolutely harmful. Yeah. Feelings aren't wrong. It's what you do with them. That's where the issue lies. Absolutely. It's how we react to them. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Feelings is your system telling you about the basic needs. Anxiety isn't a feeling, by the way. Feelings are valid. What you do based on that feeling isn't always valid. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the thoughts behind them may not be valid as well, or they might not be accurate, I guess is a better way to say it. You know, um, so something like anxiety, which anxiety is just a fear response. It's just fear essentially. Um, just a stressor kind of thing, like just a fear trigger. Um, so um, the thought of what, like, may not be correct. Like, if you drop something in the middle of a restaurant kind of thing, um, you're like, oh, everybody's going to think I'm an idiot. That thought that comes over you may not be correct, and that's at the heart of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is sort of trying to change what you actually think, because in reality, no one really cares. It's like people will glance and go, "Oh, someone dropped something," and then go back to their. No one really cares. That's the actual reality of the situation, and it's that thought not matching the reality of the situation where all the problems come from. Um, yeah, absolutely. You are two gems. Absolutely. Now I want some fudge. Yeah. Drive-by and shooter? Oh, yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for dropping in, Raging Tomato. Thank you so much. Awesome. I'm really looking forward to. I've probably got a debate coming up with a Wi-Fi gospel. I think I'm really looking forward to. I really want to talk about secular humanism, what we can use it for, how we use it, and just promote alternative philosophy to the standard sort of do what you're told. I think we can evaluate these things for ourselves. Um, yeah, Barius, I'm right on. Honest about feeling and encouraged others to be honest. Yeah, but part of this post is that the 17-year-old wasn't patient, and if we want others to be honest about their feelings, then we have to be patient with them about what they're feeling. Whether that be, a woman getting upset, not just saying, "Hey, go and fix it." Be patient and say, "Hey, you know, talk about it," or a guy saying, "Hey, I'm really afraid," not going, "Oh, well, you're just, dismiss him." They're both really important. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd love to have a great conversation. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. But that was the last one. I will see how the poll went because I am a pole dancer. Poster was bad, is the win. Yep, I totally agree. I totally agree. I think that treating a young kid like that, especially one in the foster system, is absolutely atrocious. So if we're looking at it from secular humanism, we're saying, hey, what's the best for well-being? Treating a kid like she's just going to be back in the foster system if you treat her like she's a pain in the ass, basically. And it's so, what really upsets me is that a 17-year-old, another, young lady or girl or woman could be a real inspiration and really, you know, a really good experience for somebody like that. And instead, she's blaming her for ruining things. No, that's terrible. But hopefully, she gets on board with the program. Hopefully, they get the counselling they need, and try to help her heal and become stronger out of this foster experience. It's a shame, and the foster system can be called horrible. I think that people do the best they can. Most people. There's obviously some outliers on that, but it's better than having nothing, I guess. Anyway, that is the end of that one, and that was the last one. So, yeah, did you have a good time? If you did, like, subscribe, share with friends if you want to. I do have a Discord. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for Jess for becoming a super member, because, hey, that's awesome, and I really appreciate everybody. Tomorrow I am doing a stream with some guys running BajaCon. I'll have some questions for them because I honestly don't know what it is or what it's about. That is true, Archer, but you don't have to be a emotional labor to be a big sister. I don't think that's parentification. I think you can just be supportive without being a mentor. Like, you can just be supportive. I think that there's nuances that, yes, I wouldn't expect her to be parentified, like she's responsible for the child. But I think that just by showing, sisterly love and appreciation and encourage her, I think she could be a really good influence. And that's not taking on responsibility. That's just being yourself and encouraging somebody. But I get your point. I get your point. We shouldn't expect her to be a sort of a parent to the 9-year-old. That doesn't mean you can't be a big sister, though, and be really encouraging, which would be great. Oh, yeah. If you send me the premiere, I'll absolutely be there. I'd love to be there, Patty. I would absolutely love to be there. That would be fantastic. Anyway, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for joining me. I love the engagement with you guys. So I just love it when you are here. Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Yeah, be kind to yourself. Don't hold yourself responsible if somebody gives you a car and gives you a thing. It's not your responsibility to figure out what they wanted and make the world exactly how others want it to be. No, just be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
This old switchboard could talk. Wow, your ears would sizzle. 1880. We take Alexander Graham Bell's invention for granted today. Perhaps we should. But isn't it incredible that millions and millions of people can talk simultaneously to practically any spot on Earth?